Bonjour à tous, bonjour à toutes, bienvenue aujourd'hui dans les effets spéciaux grâce à notre invité du jour, Yann Marché, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Vous êtes délégué général du PIDS Anguin, c'est le festival français des effets spéciaux. Et cette année, votre invité d'honneur, finalement, c'est Doug Chiang, le célèbre spécialiste des VFX, comme on dit en anglais, des effets spéciaux. Donc,
Et donc on est très heureux évidemment de l'avoir chez nous à Enghien-les-Bains et de lui décerner ce génie d'honneur. C'est un petit peu particulier par rapport aux autres génies d'honneur qu'on avait pu avoir sur les précédentes éditions, parce que lui, il intervient plutôt en amont. C'est-à-dire qu'on avait reçu des spécialistes des effets visuels, donc il travaille sur la fabrication des effets numériques pendant le film, et lui intervient plutôt en amont sur toute la partie concept art, c'est-à-dire il va dessiner et inventer l'univers visuel d'un film. Voilà. Donc il avait démarré sur les précédents Star Wars, le 1, 2, 3, il y a maintenant une vingtaine d'années, et pour justement expliquer au grand public, quand on commence à travailler sur un film où l'univers visuel justement est très fort, on va devoir inventer justement à la fois des créatures, un certain nombre de vaisseaux, et bien évidemment les réalisateurs font appel à des concept artistes comme Doug Chiang qui vont imaginer ce que va être l'univers, comment vont être les créatures, et ensuite d'ailleurs on voit très bien quand on découvre ces dessins qui sont assez proches de ce qu'on va voir ensuite en résultat final. Donc évidemment c'est des étapes de développement assez longues, ça prend plusieurs années parfois. Et donc c'est vraiment des artistes visionnaires. On parle parfois même de visio-futuristes, dans le sens où ils doivent imaginer justement des univers complètement renouvelés. Et donc Doug Chiang a été a joué vraiment un rôle clé, comme je disais tout à l'heure, dans cette reprise des histoires de Star Wars. Il a ensuite travaillé sur le 7, 8 et 9. Et donc voilà, donc il est vraiment très associé, encore une fois, à l'univers de Star Wars.
Doug Chiang, le maître des concept artistes, nous l'avons bien sûr rencontré. Je vous propose tout de suite son interview. Attention, c'est en anglais.
Production designer work is to really create visions of, concrete visions of what the director has written. And it's a really challenging task because, for me, I'm constantly doing research. I look at the world every day and I'm creating sort of this mental library. So when a filmmaker comes to me and asks me to create a new world, I take all those visual imagery in my mind and I try to present it into a new, fresh way. And one of the challenges that I have is really, there's so much media out there right now. And how do you create something that's fresh? How do you create something that's fantastic that the audience has never seen before and yet still services the story? And it's a really tough challenge. For me, working in the Star Wars universe, I have this wonderful opportunity to actually embellish and sort of build upon what George Lucas has built in terms of what that universe is. I spent 7 years working with George Lucas, and we defined sort of the ground rules of what Star Wars design is. Now we are at a point where we can actually build upon that and expand that universe even more. Well, ever since I was young, I've always loved drawing. Since I was 5 years old, I've been drawing my own things. And growing up as a young child in Detroit, Michigan, we had long, cold winters. So I would spend a lot of hours indoors just creating my own stories, drawing my own environments, building my own worlds. And I really enjoyed that. And I really didn't think that that could be a career in terms of, applying art, creating art like that for anybody. And then when I saw Star Wars, I realized, well, there's a connection there. The world building that George Lucas was doing was at an unprecedented level. And I thought, wow, maybe there's an opportunity where I can actually merge a lot of what I was doing at home with a possible career. The following year, when I saw the making of Star Wars, that completely transformed me because it confirmed with me that there are people behind the scenes, artists who are making the models, who are building the models, doing the paintings, doing the lighting. And I thought, well, maybe there's a possibility that could be a career path. And that's when I decided. I wanted to learn as much as I could about filmmaking and about film designers. And so I went to the library, checked out books, and learned about how to draw and create technique. And I really didn't think there was any chance I would ever come out to California to work on Star Wars or even to meet George Lucas. I mean, that was kind of, a dream that I had. I just wanted to become a better artist so that I could possibly have a career doing that. So after college, when I came out to Los Angeles, I started to, try to break into the film industry. And it was really hard. I studied film at UCLA. And mainly because I thought you had to study film in order to get into the film business. I never studied art. I didn't go to art school. And the irony is that art was what got me into the film industry. But when I got into the film industry with art, my skills were lacking. And so I had to learn new art skills. I had to teach myself how to paint, how to draw properly. And that was a real struggle. But fortunately, during that period, I was building my portfolio. And at that time, I got a really wonderful opportunity of a short project with Industrial Light and Magic. Industrial Light and Magic is George Lucas's visual effects company, and I've always, been very fond of that company and wanted to work for him. So when I heard that they were looking for an artist for 3 weeks for this one project, I of course said, please sign me up. So I packed everything to my car and I drove north to Marin County, where his company was. And fortunately for me, those 3 weeks turned into a 30-year career. I'm very fortunate that I was able to fulfill a childhood dream of mine, which was to really, well, one, design for film, and then two, work for George Lucas. Doing my own personal projects. I do. Well, as an artist, part of my job during the day is to always fulfill other visions in terms of other people's visions. But there's a part of me where I have my own visions and my own stories that I want to do, and I feel it's very important to keep that alive as well. So even though during the day I'm working for other filmmakers, at night I work on my own projects. The future for me is I enjoy what I do right now, designing for Star Wars, because that universe is so vast, and we have an opportunity to actually work with new filmmakers. So each project is, it comes with a variety of different challenges. So that's very appealing to me, because one of my main goals is to always constantly learn and grow. I never want to stop. And so that allows me to do that. It's interesting because the film design, what I do, the techniques have evolved, the tools have evolved, and they're very specific, and they're all focused on making the process more efficient. And so when I started, it was really, the computer didn't exist as far as a digital tool for me. It was really, pencil and paper, paint, and canvases. And then slowly that transformation started to take place, where we started to use Photoshop to design digitally, but still in 2D. And then eventually that incorporated 3D modeling, so that we can merge 2D digital art with 3D modeling to create sort of this hybrid art, which is what you're seeing now in the industry. And so as the techniques evolve, they're really just more efficient tools for the artist. And each tool, each generation is getting better and better. That's the wonderful thing about what I do, is that there are many other film designers like myself working on other projects. And I know most of their work, so I always look forward to seeing what they're creating. And when I see what they create, like in a film like Avatar, where it's just world building at a level that I'd never seen, and creating ideas that I'd never seen, it really inspires me, because it makes me want to try harder and do more and better. I mean, for me, my personal work, I keep it very private, and so I do a lot of personal work. Eventually someday I would love to have an exhibit of my personal works, and they could be a combination of different things, and there will be a version of the film work that I do, but it'll be a very personal statement. I love nature, I love wildlife, I love landscape, but I also love science and technology, and so I always combine the two. And what I do for films now is combining those two, but I want to do it on my own level, where I can bring my own sensibility to it. Well, right now, my day-to-day is to really oversee the Star Wars design franchise, in terms of making sure that the designs for each of our shows stays within sort of the boundaries of what George Lucas defined as Star Wars. And it's very distinct. And so my role is, two parts really. One is to be an artist, to kind of help guide, but then the other part is to really almost supervise other artists, and be part of the studio to executive oversight, to provide executive oversight over the designs. And it's very important, because what is Star Wars and what is not is a very defined box in some ways. And if you do something that's slightly off, it becomes non-Star Wars. Or if you play it too safe, you're just repeating what's been done before. And so you almost have to really be very careful about trying to create what is that Star Wars design, because you don't want to break it. And it's a very hard thing to define, because one of the most exciting areas of design for me is that gray boundary area. Because Star Wars is about new. It's about pushing the boundaries of the aesthetics, about the designs. But you can only push it so far. And so for me, what I enjoy about the new projects now is that we're right on that edge, where we're creating something new for the audience, but we're also expanding upon the universe. Well, see, that's the great thing, is George created such a vast universe with so many different characters, that there's lots of opportunities for new filmmakers to come in to tell their own stories within that universe. I've been running non-stop since we started working on The Mandalorian, so it's been almost 4 years straight. I would love a little break. A little vacation would be nice.